You ever have that feeling on the green when, like, you've lined up this perfect putt, but then the ball just veers off course?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like sometimes my putter just has a mind of its own.
Absolutely. We've all been there. It's that sinking feeling of, I did everything right, so why did that happen? And that, my friend, might just be torque.
Torque. So it's not just me.
It's definitely not just you. Torque is this rotational force that can actually twist your putter face out of alignment at impact, even if you think your stroke feels smooth.
Okay, so torque is like the villain here. And today we're doing a deep dive into some interesting tech that claims to be the hero, torque-free putters.
Yeah.
Specifically, L Golf and Axis1 Golf.
What's fascinating about this is how they're each approaching this issue from completely different angles. L.A.B Golf, for instance, they developed something called lie angle balance technology, or L.A.B for short.
L.A.B tech. But how does it actually work?
So imagine this. You swing your putter, and the face stays perfectly square to your intended path throughout the entire stroke. That's the idea behind L.A.B tech. It's designed to counteract torque and keep the putter face stable through impact. And theoretically, that'll lead to a straighter, more consistent roll.
So it's like having a built-in stabilizer to keep those nasty twists at bay.
Precisely. Now, L.A.B Golf also offers this remote fitting process where you submit a video of your stroke and some basic measurements.
Interesting.
It sounds super convenient, but I'm curious how that stacks up against a traditional in-person fitting in terms of accuracy.
That's a good point. I mean, can a remote fitting really capture all the nuances of your stroke and provide the same level of, like, personalization?
It certainly raises questions. But shifting gears to Axis1 Golf, they've taken a different approach, focusing on the center of gravity of the putter head.
Center of gravity. I remember that from my physics class. Something about balance, right?
Exactly. Think of it like trying to balance a pencil on your finger, the eraser end. No chance, it'll topple right over. But find that sweet spot in the middle, and it becomes incredibly stable.
Okay, I'm starting to see where you're going with this. So Axis 1 puts the center of gravity right in the middle of the putter face.
Exactly. And not just in the middle of the face, they also align it perfectly with the shaft and grip. And this specific placement makes the putter head extremely resistant to twisting.
It's like the putter head is programmed to stay square, no matter what you do with your hands. But they've taken it a step further, haven't they? They're claiming to be the only truly torque-free putters on the market.
That's a bold claim for sure. And while both companies are ultimately aiming for the same thing, that elusive, perfectly square putter face at impact, it's clear they're taking very different paths to get there. So the question becomes, are their claims backed up by what we see on the green?
Right, because performance is what ultimately matters. Speaking of which, let's talk aesthetics for a second. L.A.B golf putters definitely have a distinct look, with those large mallet-style heads and the single alignment line.
They definitely stand out.
It's a statement piece for sure.
Axis1 Golf, on the other hand, seems to favor more traditional blade and mallet shapes, although they do incorporate some unique design features like their patented heel counter.
So I guess it boils down to personal preference, right? Some golfers want something sleek and classic, while others might be drawn to a more modern, tech-forward look.
Absolutely. It's like any piece of sports equipment. Performance is paramount, but there's no denying the importance of aesthetics.
Right. You want to feel confident and good-looking when you step up to address that putt.
Exactly.
And speaking of specific models, L.A.B Golf has the OZ.1, which they tout as having a tour-inspired design. But does tour-inspired actually translate to better results for us average golfers?
It makes you wonder, right? Is it a genuine performance advantage or just clever marketing?
Good question. Then there's the Axis1 Rose 2.0, a name that definitely piqued my interest. Any idea where that name comes from?
I did a little digging, and even I couldn't find a clear explanation. Their marketing materials don't really delve into the origin story, so it remains a bit of a mystery. Maybe it's named after a famous golfer or some specific design element.
Yeah, who knows? Well, whatever the story behind the name, their tagline is certainly eye-catching, the dark side of perfection. Sounds a bit dramatic, don't you think?
It does have a certain flair to it, but we have to remember that marketing is all about grabbing your attention. The real test is whether the putter lives up to the hype on the green.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the million-dollar question. Do these torque-free putters actually deliver on their promises? L.A.B Golf has an entire section on their website dedicated to what golfers are saying. With testimonials from sources like Golf Week and Golf WRX, some of the reviews are incredibly positive, with golfers claiming they've never putted so consistently in their lives.
Those kinds of reviews are definitely encouraging. But we have to remember that individual experiences can vary. What works wonders for one golfer might not have the same impact on another. It's important to take those glowing testimonials with a grain of salt.
Right. It's not like a one-size-fits-all solution. And Axis1 Golf seems to be taking a different approach, highlighting their tour-proven performance and boasting over $16 million in PGA Tour earnings with their putters.
Those are some impressive figures for sure. But again, we have to think critically. While those earnings indicate that their putters can perform at the highest level, do those pro endorsements automatically guarantee better results for the average golfer?
That's a really good point. Professional golfers have access to the best coaches, the best
Mm.
practice facilities. And let's not forget, natural talent. They're playing a completely different game than most of us. So while it's encouraging to see those putters performing well on tour, it's not a guarantee we'll see those same results in our weekend rounds.
Exactly. And that's what makes this exploration so interesting. It's not about blindly accepting marketing claims. It's about dissecting those claims, understanding the nuances, weighing the evidence, and figuring out what truly matters for us as golfers.
So we've covered how these companies claim to tackle the issue of torque, and we've looked at some of their marketing strategies. But there's another layer to this, isn't there? The all-important feel of the putter.
You're right. Feel is a huge factor.
Yeah.
Experienced golfers talk about the feeling of the putter in their hands and how it transmits feedback from the ball. It's almost like an extension of yourself.
Exactly, and that feeling, that connection with the putter, can impact your confidence when you're standing over a crucial putt. But how do these torque-free designs affect that all-important feel?
That's the question, isn't it? There's a lot of debate in the golfing community about how eliminating torque affects feel. Some argue that it actually reduces feel because the putter head doesn't rotate as freely during the stroke.
So it's like a trade-off. You gain consistency, but you lose that sense of feedback from the ball, which can make some golfers feel less confident in their stroke.
That's one side of the argument. Of course, there are golfers who don't notice a significant difference in feel. Or they might even prefer the stability of a torque-free putter. They like that it feels solid and less prone to twisting.
It really highlights the subjective nature of feel in putting. What feels perfect for one golfer might feel completely off for another. It's like finding the right pair of shoes. It has to fit just right.
Absolutely. Which brings us back to that crucial piece of advice. Trying out different putters and seeing what works best for you. We can talk about technology and marketing all day long, but the true test is how a putter feels in your hands and how it performs for you on the green.
I couldn't agree more. But before we dive into the importance of testing and finding the right putter for you, let's take a closer look at the design and aesthetic elements of these putters. After all, as you said earlier, it's not just about performance. It's about feeling good with the club in your hand.
You're absolutely right. Aesthetics do play a crucial role in how we perceive and connect with our equipment. L.A.B Golf, with their lie angle balance technology, they've carved out a distinct visual identity. Their large mallet-style heads with that single bold alignment line running down the back certainly make a statement on the green.
Yeah, I've seen them in action, and you can't miss them. They almost have a futuristic vibe. But you mentioned Axis1 Golf leans towards a more traditional look.
Yes, they tend to favor classic blade and mallet shapes, but they still have those unique design elements, like their patented heel counter, which sets them apart, and of course their core focus on that precisely positioned center of gravity is what really drives their design philosophy.
It's interesting how both companies seem to prioritize both performance and aesthetics, but they go about it in such different ways. It's like they're appealing to different personalities on the green.
Exactly, and that's a testament to how diverse the golfing world is. There's no single right answer when it comes to putter design. Ultimately, it boils down to what speaks to you as a golfer, both in terms of how it performs and how it looks in your bag.
Okay, so we've covered the technology and the aesthetics, but let's circle back to the core question. Do these torque-free putters actually translate into more putts dropping? Do they really work?
That's the question everyone wants answered, isn't it? And the truth is, there's no simple yes or no answer. We've seen glowing testimonials from golfers who swear by torque-free putters, claiming they've shaved strokes off their game. But we've also heard from skeptics who believe it's all hype and that traditional putters are just as effective.
So it sounds like the jury's still out on whether they're a guaranteed game changer.
Exactly. We have to acknowledge that putting is a complex skill, influenced by countless factors. The putter itself is just one piece of the puzzle. Your stroke, your ability to read, greens, your mental game, they all play a huge role.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like any piece of sports equipment. The best tennis racket in the world won't magically turn someone into Serena Williams.
Precisely. It's about finding the right tool to complement your skills and help you improve. So while data and testimonials can offer some insight, the ultimate test is how a putter feels in your hands and how it performs for you on the green.
That brings us back to something you mentioned earlier, the importance of trying out different putters before committing. But for someone who's intrigued by this torque-free technology, where do they even begin? Should they just run out and buy a L.A.B Golf or Axis1 putter?
I wouldn't recommend rushing into a purchase just yet. As we've discussed, it's a very personal decision. The first step should be to become more aware of the role of torque. In your current putting stroke, pay attention to how the putter feels during your swing. Do you notice any twisting or inconsistencies?
So it's about being more mindful of what's happening during your stroke. Yeah. And identifying any potential areas where torque might be creeping in.
Exactly. And if you do notice those issues, then exploring torque-free options could be a worthwhile next step. The best way to do that is to get your hands on a few different putters and see how they feel. Most golf shops and driving ranges have demo days where you can test out a variety of clubs, including putters.
Those demo days sound like a great opportunity to get a feel for different putter technologies. What should golfers focus on when they're testing out these putters?
Pay attention to how consistently you can start the ball on your intended line. Distance control is also key. Notice if the putter feels stable and helps you judge distance accurately. And of course, don't forget the all-important feel. Does the putter inspire confidence? Does it feel comfortable and natural in your hands?
So it's really about finding that sweet spot where technology, performance, and feel all come together.
Absolutely. Now, for golfers who are really serious about exploring torque-free options and want a more personalized approach, there's always the option of a professional putter fitting.
A professional fitting. What does that entail?
It's a more comprehensive assessment, where a trained fitter will analyze your stroke, measure your lie angle, and recommend putters specifically tailored to your individual needs. They can also fine-tune the loft and lie of your putter to optimize your setup for maximum consistency.
So it's like getting a custom-tailored suit, but for your putter.
That's a great analogy. It's about finding the perfect match between your stroke and the putter's design. Now remember, we've spent a lot of time talking about L.A.B Golf and Axis1 Golf. But they aren't the only players in the game. There are other companies out there pushing the boundaries of putter technology.
Oh, I'm all ears. Who else should we be keeping an eye on?
Well, one company that immediately comes to mind is Odyssey. They've been a leader in putter technology for years, known for their focus on advanced weight distribution and innovative face technologies.
I'm familiar with Odyssey. They're a big name in the golf world. What kind of innovations are they known for?
One of their key innovations is the Stroke Lab shaft, which uses a multi-material construction to redistribute weight and improve tempo and consistency. It's quite fascinating, really. By shifting weight away from the head and towards the grip, they've created a shaft that feels incredibly light and easy to control.
So it's almost like they're manipulating physics to help you swing the putter more smoothly. I can see how that could lead to a more consistent stroke.
Precisely. And they don't stop there. Odyssey is also renowned for their micro-hinge technology, which is designed to enhance forward roll and reduce skidding.
Micro hinges. What are those and how do they impact the roll?
Essentially, they're tiny hinges on the putter face that create more contact with the ball at impact. This, in turn, promotes a truer and more predictable roll, helping your putts stay on line.
It sounds like they're really focused on those minute details that can make a big difference in putting performance.
They are, and for those golfers who struggle with alignment, Odyssey offers their triple-track alignment system, which uses 3 distinct lines on the putter head to help you aim more accurately.
It's like having a built-in guide rail for your putts. So while L.A.B Golf and Axis1 Golf focus specifically on eliminating torque, Odyssey seems to be taking a multi-pronged approach, addressing various aspects of putting performance with their different technologies.
That's a great observation. And with their diverse range of putter models, from traditional blades to high MOI mallets, Odyssey caters to a wide spectrum of preferences and playing styles.
Okay, so we've explored a lot of ground here. From the intricacies of torque-free technology to the importance of feel and the various innovations being introduced by companies like Odyssey, it's clear that the world of putter technology is constantly evolving.
It certainly is, and that's what makes it so exciting. But amidst all this talk about technology and innovation, it's important to remember the human element. The golfer behind the putter is ultimately the one who dictates success on the green.
You're absolutely right. No putter, no matter how advanced, can replace good technique, a solid understanding of the greens, and a calm, focused mind.
Exactly. So for those listening who are eager to explore these new technologies, I encourage you to do so. Dive into the world of torque-free putters, experiment with different weight distributions, and discover the feel of innovative face technologies. But never lose sight of the fundamentals. Practice diligently refine your technique, and cultivate a strong mental game. Those are the foundations of consistent putting.
It's about finding that perfect balance between equipment, technique, and the mental game.
Well said. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of putter technology, I want to leave you with a final thought-provoking question.
I love a good thought-provoking question. Hit me with it.
We've seen how companies are striving for putting perfection with their torque-free designs and other innovations, but it makes me wonder, does perfect putting even exist? Or are there inherent limitations, both in our abilities and in the nature of the game itself? That technology can never truly overcome.
Ooh, that's a deep one. It really makes you think about the interplay between equipment skill and the inherent unpredictability of golf.
It really does. I mean, we could have the most technologically advanced putter in the world, but if we can't read the greens or handle the pressure of that crucial putt, those factors can easily send the ball astray.
Right. It's like having a high-performance race car. The car might be capable of incredible speed, but it's still the driver who determines whether they navigate the track successfully.
You nailed it. Even with all the advancements in putter technology, there's an undeniable human element that can't be ignored. Putting is as much a mental game as it is a physical one. Reading the greens, visualizing the putt, managing your nerves under pressure. Those factors are crucial for consistently sinking putts.
Yeah, I've even heard some golfers describe putting as a form of meditation. It requires focus, stillness, and
Yeah.
a sense of calm amidst the pressure.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it highlights another aspect that technology can only partially address: the inherent variability of the playing surface. Greens can be fast or slow, bumpy or smooth, and even the slightest change in elevation can dramatically affect the ball's path. No two putts are ever exactly the same.
So even with a perfectly square putter face, there are still countless variables that come into play.
Exactly. We have to adapt to the conditions, adjust our stroke, and sometimes just trust our instincts. That's what makes putting such a captivating and challenging aspect of the game. It's this constant dance between precision and adaptability, technical skill and intuition.
And that brings us back to your thought-provoking question. Does perfect putting even exist?
Maybe perfect putting isn't about eliminating every single variable or achieving robotic consistency. Maybe it's about embracing those challenges, finding a putter that complements your style, and continuously striving to improve those tiny details that make all the difference.
It's about the journey, not just the destination. And for our listeners who have been with us on this deep dive into the world of torque-free putters and beyond, what's the key takeaway you want to leave them with?
Embrace curiosity, explore these new technologies, experiment with different designs, and see if they resonate with your game. But never neglect the fundamentals. Practice diligently, refine your technique, and cultivate a strong mental game. Those are the foundations of consistent putting.
It's about finding that perfect synergy between equipment skill and mental fortitude.
Absolutely. Keep experimenting, keep learning, and most importantly, keep enjoying the game.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll say goodbye for now. Until next time, may all your putts find the bottom of the cup.